Sunday is celebrated with Christ coming into our world as the light. And John's gospel begins with the coming of Jesus, and he treats it as a much more philosophical idea than the other gospels. And Valerie and I will read John chapter 1, verses 1 to 18 in the New Revised Standard Version of the Bible. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things came into being through him, and without him, not one thing came into being. What has come into being in him was life, and the life was the light of all people. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it.
There was a man sent from God, whose name was John. He came as a witness to testify to the light, so that all might believe through him. He himself was not the light, but he came to testify to the light. The true light, which enlightens everyone, was coming into the world.
He was in the world, and the world came into being through him. Yet the world did not know him. He came to what was his own, and his people did not accept him. But to all who received him, who believed in his name, he gave power to become children of God, who was born not of blood or of the will of the flesh or the will of man, but of God.
And the Word became flesh and lived among us. And we have seen his glory, the glory as of a Father's only Son, full of grace and truth. John testified to him and cried out, "This was he of whom I said, 'He who comes after me ranks ahead of me because he was before me.'" From his fullness we have all received grace upon grace. The law indeed was given through Moses. Grace and truth came through Jesus Christ. No one has ever seen God. It is God, the only Son, who is close to the Father's heart, who has made him known.
Astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson makes an intriguing comparison between human beings and chimpanzees. He said our DNAs are 98% the same. Yet with a 2% difference, we are able to create incredibly complex human civilizations with music, art, poetry, as well as science, physics, and biology. We can send satellites into the orbit, and we can control them from down below with our supercomputers. As for the chimpanzees, they still live in the trees in Africa. The best that the scientists have discovered about the chimpanzees is that they can stack boxes. DeGrasse Tyson says, our 3-year-old children could do that very easily. Then he says, our smartest person is Stephen Hawking. Now imagine another species of beings who have 2% better DNAs than we do, and whose 3-year-old children are as smart as Stephen Hawking. Now imagine their 3-year-old children coming home from preschool, and the parent asks, "So what did you learn at daycare today, sweetie?" The child might answer, "Oh, nothing special. We just talked about quantum mechanics, advanced calculus, and space-time continuum. It was pretty easy and pretty boring." We might wonder, what kind of world might live in? What are they capable of? What could they teach to to us. We can only imagine what might be possible in a world of super intelligent beings. We do, however, know about a spiritually enlightened being like we have not witnessed in the history of the world. John writes of him this way: "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things came into being through him, and without him, not one thing came into being. What has come into being in him was life, and the life was the light of all people. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it." John, in describing the coming of Jesus, did not bother to mention Mary or Joseph, nor did he mention the angels, shepherds, or the wise men. John was interested in the behind the scenes of Jesus' ministry, his divine origin, and his divine nature. In other words, John was a Jewish mystic who delved into the mysterious nature of Jesus. The way that John was able to explain to us about Jesus was that he was not from this world, that he was the Word. The word in Greek is logos, and it does not refer to verbs, nouns, adjectives, or adverbs. Rather, logos conveys the intelligent design that governs the universe. Jewish theologians equated logos with the laws of God, or the God of wisdom known as Sophia. In Asian philosophy, logos would be the Tao, or the way of the universe. For John, the logos became flesh in Jesus of Nazareth, whom in him was life, and the life was the light of all people. The coming of light is a very important concept, especially at this time of the year. These days, the sun rises shortly before 8 o'clock and sets before 5 in the afternoon. Yet we are encouraged because the daylight is getting longer, albeit ever so slightly, every day. We look forward to a time when we can enjoy a nice evening outside in our backyard after dinner, listening to the birds while eating mint chocolate ice cream. Similarly, Jesus, the light of the world, brings such hope and warmth to our world as we await a return to a warm and lush life. More significantly, John, who would have known about Greek philosophers Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, places Jesus as the light. The highlight of the book, Plato's Republic, is the allegory of the cave. To make the story short, people are sitting inside a cave and they are all tied up with ropes, unable to turn their heads. What they see are images on the side of the wall, which is a projection of puppets. People think and believe that the shadowy images are the reality. Then one person escapes the cave, and initially the blinding light hurts his eyes. Then eventually he sees the world in all its glory rather than as shadows like he did in the cave. He decides to come back down into the cave and tries to tell everyone what he has seen. No one believes him, and everyone thinks this man is crazy. Just as the hero in Plato's cave was not accepted, the world also did not know Jesus, and they did not accept him either. For John, Jesus was not someone who has seen the light and who has come back to this world to tell us about it. Rather, Jesus was the light and the life. In fact, Jesus was more than just a witness to the light. Rather, Jesus is the creator of life, light, and intelligence of the universe. Jesus is the one who inspires us to see the reality clearly. The intelligent design of the universe that Jesus embodied was not interested in teaching us astrophysics or advanced calculus or applied chemistry. Rather, he was interested in giving us power to become children of God so that we would not be born of blood or of flesh, but of God. Jesus also taught, "You are the light of the world." The light of God is already inside of us. There is nothing we can do to earn it. It is already there. We are not to put it under a bushel, but we have to let it shine. Furthermore, light and life are intrinsically tied together as John says, "In him was life, and the life was the light of all people." Second century Bishop Saint Irenaeus said, "The glory of God is a human being fully alive." The glory of God is a human being fully alive. I don't think he thought being fully alive meant skydiving, running marathons, or traveling to every country in the world. Rather, fully alive means what Buddhists refer to being fully aware, and psychologist Abraham Maslow, he described it as self-actualization. Self-actualized people have reached their full human potential. Such people have the following attributes. They accept themselves and others in all our imperfections and flaws. They are creative. They have deep and meaningful relationships. They are self-sufficient. They have a sense of humor, philosophical humor, and they are able to find humor in their own mistakes and in life as well. They accurately perceive reality, both as it pertains to the self and others. They live with a sense of purpose. They experience frequent moments of profound happiness, or as Maslow, I guess, coined the term, they have peak experiences. They demonstrate empathy and compassion for others. They have an ongoing appreciation of the goodness of life, meaning that they are very grateful people as well. In John's Gospel, chapter 10, verse 10, we also hear Jesus say, "I have come that you may have life and have it abundantly." At the heart of it all, there has to be a profound love of life, of oneself, humanity, and God's creation. Neil deGrasse Tyson mentioned amazing possibilities with only 2% better DNAs. Jesus, on the other hand, showed us the spiritual intelligence while shining the divine light and life. God humbly seeks to shine through us, and darkness cannot overcome it. This is the hope and joy of Christ coming into our midst and into our world. Thanks be to God. Amen.